So, ESPN Cricinfo Auction Day presented by League Adda as we wrap up everything that happened at the IPL auction today. It wasn't necessarily the most slam dunk of auctions with high profile players and lots of big names and big money, but significant money spent for some relatively interesting players. Very specific choices for franchises to wrap things up from the day's action. In studio with me, Ajit Agarkar, Gaurav Sundararaman, and we still have Brad Hodge, who's all set to wake up and go for his morning jog. Hodgie, are you still with us?
I'm hanging in there, yeah, Ranak, I'm just hanging in there, mate.
All right, excellent. We won't keep you too long. We'll try and get a quick wrap of the action and how the squads look ahead of the auction, ahead of the big IPL now. And there are still some unknown variants. Remember, the dates are a question mark, the venue therefore. But the teams had to go into this auction without all those elements known. They've ended up coming out with their squads. Let's have a quick roundup. Gaurav, has this auction lived up to whatever was more or less predicted of it?
Yeah, more or less. A few players, a lot of surprises. It looks like the scouts have done a lot of work because a lot of unknown players were picked. Unknown in the sense, little known players were picked towards this end of the auction. That too for a lot of money. So wonder what they're going to offer.
Prabhsimran Singh, a base price of 20 lakh, 4.8 crore, a 17-year-old wicketkeeper picked up by the Kings 11. Prayas Ray Burman, again a young teenage leg spinner, 1.5 crore is what he's gone to RCB. So is this what, all scouting? Is there anything you know about these players?
Not really. Both
then nobody can know about these players on this panel.
Prabhsimran and Ray Burman, I just read about them after they were picked, and both seem to have a lot of potential. Very young guys, very young.
I think there was an under-19 tournament, Asia Cup, isn't it? Obviously, a lot of them have been, the scouts have watched them and seem to have the potential. That's still huge gambles, but I suppose that's how you're filling your squad, and maybe look at another year down the line, or maybe 2 years down the line. These guys could potentially be your mainstays in your 11.
Amongst the significant buys in the last round after the accelerated portion, whatnot, Akshdeep Nath at 3.64. This is a player that that's followed you around, Brad Hodge, or the other way around in the last few seasons of the IPL. But 3.64 for Akshdeep Nath going to RCB.
Oh, he'll be jumping up and down in UP for sure. He's had another good day, and look, he's a great guy and nice kid. He's got some serious talent. He's got some hitting power. He can wicket as well, from what I found out last year. Used to bowl a little medium pace, but look, he might do well there. I think for him, he just hasn't had a consistent shot at IPL. He's captain of UP now and leads them well in certain tournaments. So look, it's a big money, and you assume paying that money that he's going to start and get a good chance.
Amongst other notable names that went in this last bit, before we do a roundup of the teams, O'Shane Thomas for just over a crore to Rajasthan, and for exactly a crore at base price, Yuvraj Singh to Mumbai. Ajit, Yuvraj finds the team, and not one that he's played before.
Yeah, I think seems to happen to him quite often. I think apart from a couple of seasons, but
what's the thinking there?
Yeah, I think it could be a little bit emotional as well. I think he's been a great player for India. I mean, there weren't any takers really apart from Mumbai really towards the end. Maybe affords them a little bit more sort of marketing value, if you like. They'd be hoping that he kind of turns around, proves people wrong. If he gets an opportunity, plus some of the Indian players will leave or if they don't play the entire tournament, there is some sort of Indian backup with a bit of experience. They'd be hoping he offers them some sort of contribution.
Is there anything that you can see from a strategic or cricketing point of view which would merit Yuvraj Singh being part of any squad, let alone Mumbai Indians?
No, not really. Like Ajit said, maybe marketing purposes or just
someone
the fact.
punched you in the gut. You've lost all your energy that you had from the start of the day. That's it. Okay, we're done.
It's a tough one. You kind of feel happy for UV, but I think it's a little bit emotional than anything else at this point, at least. Hopefully, in 3 months' time, he's in good shape and hitting the ball well, and that might turn out to be a great decision.
I'll give you one line on Yuvraj Singh for Mumbai Indians. Hodgie, off you go.
Hopeful.
Very well. You had a few more words in that line, but yes.
Was it one line? Sorry, I thought it was one word.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. If you'd like to extend it.
I'll back that up. I mean, as Ajit has pointed out, he's an Indian legend and he's done well. And look, maybe Wankhede Stadium might suit him. There's good history there before. But just really can't see him getting a game. Lewis, Suryakumar Yadav, Ishan Kishan, Rohit Sharma, Pollard, Pandya. Tough to see him getting a game at the start, and the only way it can probably happen is through injury or people disappearing. Yeah.
Very well. Let's have a quick roundup of the teams then and how the squads look. You need to look at them holistically now and see whether there are teams that have outscored the others on this day at the auction. Let's start with Yuvraj's team. Let's start with the Mumbai Indians. And they came in with a significant part of their squad already retained and with them. So there were only a few names that they could have realistically gone for. They brought back Lasith Malinga at 2 crore. They've picked up Anmolpreet Singh at 80 lakhs. Other than that, they were looking for a replacement Indian seamer, Gaurav, and they went for Barinder Saran for 3.4 crore, outbidding CSK. There's also in that team late pickups Pankaj Jaiswal, Rasik Dar at base price, and Yuvraj, as we mentioned, at 1 crore. Have Mumbai sought out to achieve the objectives they went into this auction with?
Yes, I think so, and they do have a replacement for Bumrah, which was the major gap. And like you said, they had 11 ready, and Malinga adds to that overseas and experience bowling unit. Their batting has always been very good. They like that core top 7, and they're set. Maybe last year they didn't perform as well as they had to.
Yeah.
But this year, hopefully, and remember, every alternate year they've been winning 2013, 2015, 2017. So
let's keep that in mind. Would you have liked to see a little more investment from local players? It's not something that many IPL teams do, but can Mumbai be questioned for doing anything more in this auction than they have?
Not really. I think they've got a good nucleus. I think most of the team is settled, like a couple of the other teams. So it's just about adding players. Quinton de Kock, I think, a great sort of swap with RCB. Dangerous player at the top of the order, plus a wicket keeper. And they've added, an Indian seamer and Malinga. So, no, not a lot for them to do. So, it just makes your job a little bit easier. I mean, Saran, I think they bid for a couple of the seamers. They couldn't get them at the price they wanted. So, Saran was the one that they felt had the necessary experience. So,
very well.
Generally a settled team.
Yeah. Now, what about Rajasthan? They went into this auction still having some questions, and they had to almost rebuild a significant part of that squad, and they had to find reserve options. They left it very late, did the Rajasthan Royals. It had to go to the last part of the accelerated process. And as I look at that team, Haji, we wanted them to find some sort of reinforcement for the likes of Ben Stokes, Steve Smith, Josh Butler, who might become unavailable at some point for World Cup duty. They've gone for Ashton Turner, who plays for the Perth Scorchers. Manan Bora was a late pick that they got. Jaydev Unadkat and Varun Aaron is where most of their money went in the early part of the auction. And O'Shane Thomas too. So lots of fast bowlers going their way. There's a Lancashire leg spinner in Liam Livingston that also found a place in that team. And as I pointed, Ashton Turner, Shubham Ranjane and Rian Parag from Assam, all late buys for Rajasthan. Haji, team thoughts on that team?
Very late, didn't they? I think they bought the last 6 of the 7 people on offer. But interesting. I still think they've got a few questions to answer there. I think Ashton Turner's a really good pickup, actually, especially if he's bowling his off spin, which I've heard he might be soon. But Livingston, they've already got Ish Sodhi there, so that's neither here nor there one. But I heard he's pretty good. He was meant to come out and play here in the Melbourne Stars, but he got injured. O'Shane Thomas, so they got some ball speed as well, but I'm still not convinced that they've covered, Stokes, Smith and Butler if they go. So there was still a lot of questions over their Indian top order batting. So if they get it right, if they get a set of 11, they'll be fine. But I think they missed the trick early on in the auction, actually.
They didn't go for any hard-hitting top order bats to back up someone like a Smith or a Butler. Thoughts on that?
Yes, like we discussed earlier, they have gone for some Moneyball picks in terms of Ashton Turner and Liam Livingston. Both of them have very good strike rates. If you actually look at the numbers, they have very good numbers. So it's something that they're hedging their bets on. And the only player they've actually taken a proper like-by-like replacement is for Jofra Archer, and he's the most likely to actually be there in the team with O'Shane Thomas. So, like you said, Ben Stokes, Smith, Butler, all really huge, impactful overseas players, and they don't have replacement for them. So, let's see how they actually shape up. I'm with Hodge on that. I don't think they've really performed
It's almost
maybe
like they
on par.
continue to have a lot of faith in their Indian batting, and they say they just
Yeah, and it didn't work for them last year. I mean, they missed Steve Smith, obviously. They missed his leadership as well. Might have helped their case. Again, there'll be so much dependence on Stokes and Butler, who are world-class players, and Smith himself, but not much else to really, I mean, the Indian batsmen will have to put their hand up, like Rahane, Sanju Samson. A lot of work for them to do. I think, they could have been a bit. Last year they went and spent a lot of money. This year they've just waited for some reason, in spite of having the money. So, you only need a good first 11, but otherwise they don't have a lot of depth.
One of the easier jobs in the world today would have been sitting on the Chennai Super Kings auction table. It's now come to an end for the gentlemen that were almost laughing at their own limitations of having just 3.5 crore to spend, a little under that, after they went early on for Mohit Sharma for 5 crore. That's essentially the squad that won IPL 2018 so convincingly in such wonderful fashion. And MS Dhoni continues to lead a team he's very well aware of. They picked up...
I hope you're not betting against them.
Not at all. They picked up Ruturaj Gaikwad and they have Mohit Sharma. There's no reason to bet against Chennai Super Kings anymore. Let's ask the loyal son of the soil if you're impressed by that. If you thought any more, if they would have gone for any other reinforcement, a spinner perhaps?
Yeah, the only person I thought they will go for is a backup spinner for Harbhajan Singh. But then later on, when I actually looked at the squad this year, they have Mitchell Santner, and he was someone who didn't play last year because of injury. So if Dhoni prefers his spin, the 4 overs of his spin, then you don't need essentially a backup for Harbhajan Singh. But otherwise, I think they have their bases covered. The good thing is most of their players are available. They're not going on international duty.
Yeah,
so
they're all retired.
Yeah, so they just have to come together again.
Yeah, and they have a backup spinner in Ravindra Jadeja also, who only bowled as a backup spinner all of last season. Ajit, while Ajit gets his composure together, just your thoughts on that Chennai side?
Yeah, it's a good side, isn't it? And they even the coach didn't bother coming over for that one. I think he's pretty much got his top 15 sorted out, and Khan Sharma's also there as well. So he's a fairly decent leg spinner that can whack him as well. So fairly settled squad. You won't see too many changes from them. And also they get Kedar Jadhav back, who was injured most of the tournament last year. He'll be a big inclusion as well in that squad.
5 crore on Mohit Sharma, that's all they needed. So they just got the reinforcement they needed.
Yeah, they're looking for one seamer.
Yeah.
Tried for Unatkar, I think, early on. Obviously got priced out. Again, familiarity. Mohit Sharma's played under MS for India and for Chennai before. Just knows him, what he can do, and just easy decision. Again, they'll have to play at their best, which they did last year. Otherwise, like you said, there are a lot of retired players in that team. 1 year on, you never know how they perform. So, lots of experience, obviously. But they'll have to play at their best.
They'll be fine, Ajit. You just know that.
now that you've not picked them again.
They'll be just fine, Chennai Super Kings. What about Kings 11 Punjab? They came into this auction needing a lot of work to be done, new leadership, new coaching staff, let's say the same leadership under R. Ashwin, but Mike Hesson taking over. And there were some initial additions. Mohammad Shami going for good money to that team. Nicholas Puran, 4.2 crore. They picked up Moses Hendricks as their first buy. They paid a lot of money for Sam Curran as well as Varun Chakravarti, 8.4 crore. He is one of the highest bids of this auction. And other than that, then Mike Hesson went on this spree of getting uncapped Indian players. So Arshdeep Singh, Darshan Nalkande, Prabh Simran Singh, we mentioned, going at 4.8 crore. And then also Agnivesh Ayachi. So they've had a few that have gone in for at the end with Mike Hesson trying to add to the Indian uncapped squad. Lots of scouting there, I think. Haji, but what have you made overall of the team that Mike Hesson now succeeds from you?
Yeah, it looks pretty good actually. I mean, there's plenty of options there for the Kings 11 Punjab to get right. I originally thought that the squad of the 10 or 11 that they kept were pretty substantial players. I think the hardest thing for when you don't have your core squad together is trying to get that to gel over time. So you don't have a lot of time pre-tournament to get it right. So with all these players, the only hindrance is that other teams have had success with a core group of players for a lot longer. So the quicker they can get that, but yeah, I like the way Ashwin captains. I love his style, and he's got plenty of options to choose from. That may actually be the hardest decision what overseas players and what combinations they go with.
Yeah, that's exactly my next question to the two of you. With Ty, Gale, Miller, Mujib, four very established overseas players, Ajit, to add to that list now, the likes of Sam Curran, who you've paid good money for, Nicholas Puran's been paid a decent amount of money for. Just thoughts on whether they've managed to get everything out of this auction that they wanted?
Yeah, I mean, you want options. There's no harm in having extra few players. It's a longish tournament. You might have a couple of injuries, loss of form, maybe some players going away for the World Cup. So you'd rather have decent experience backup or quality backup rather. And they've done well, I think. They've got it. Now it's about actually going and playing well.
Lots of Indians that filled up that list towards the end, and they're probably trying to just fill up that squad. But from you, in comparison to what cost Punjab last year, have they done enough to answer those queries this time for you, Gaurav?
Yeah, they would hope that Mayank and Karun come good, and they've got a good trade in Mandeep Singh. He actually is a good hitter. We saw that with RCB last year. He was playing down the order, and when he played for Punjab earlier, he used to open. So, and they have like-by-like replacements for every role. So, I think that it's good to, like Ajit exactly said, it's great to have options.
Yeah.
And you never know who's going to perform, who's going to get injured, and who to play in what conditions. So they have that covered. It's they have a good. They have three spinners who are likely to play most games. So if the three spinners can do a good job regularly, and they have a decent.
Very keen to see how Varun Chakravarti goes.
Yeah, big money.
From whatever little videos you've seen, looks to have a mystery about him.
And that'll add to the mystery that Mujib anyway possesses in that team. So yeah, makes for a fascinating prospect for Kings 11 and under a captain spinner. So we'll see how that goes. Right, next one, Kolkata Knight Riders. They again have gone almost with a similar approach, Gaurav, of going for just a few squad players. They ended up picking up Brathwaite for 5 crore. They picked up the MSL quick Andrik Anoxije, who bowls quite quickly, I believe, just for his base pack of 20 lakhs. Lockie Ferguson picked up, so a bit of pace reinforced in that team. And other than that, Nikhil Nayak, the Maharashtra wicketkeeper, Harry Gurney, the seamer, again left-arm seam there, and Prithvi Raj Yara too, another left-arm seamer. Yes, Gaurav.
Yes, very similar to Punjab. They've also thought in this a very similar manner, like-by-like replacements for all the roles. They lost Stark, they lost Johnson, they picked up the South African seamer, and they picked up Harry Gurney. Again, last year a lot of things worked for them. The Indian top order batsmen, they all played very well. Again, the core is the Indian contingent here, and in fact, if Nagarkoti is fit and Mavi bowls as well as what he did last time, they're kind of sorted. And even if Lin leaves, I don't think it's too much of a problem. That could happen, but even if he leaves, I don't think it'll affect their balance too much.
I wonder if you share that thought, Haji. If Chris Lynn, who's key to Kolkata's success in recent years, if he leaves, did they do enough? Did they miss an opportunity in trying to find an overseas established top order bat, or do you go with Gaurav that they actually look alright, even though the squad is thin perhaps on numbers?
Yeah, good actually. I mean, when you look at Kolkata Knight Riders, you automatically sort of think, top 4 team. When you look at Lynn, Nareen, Uttapa, Rana, Karthik, Russell, Brathwaite, Kuldeep, Chawla, Mavi, there's 10 pretty good players there, and then to fill the spots with a few bits and pieces here and there. I think they picked up Joe Denley late as well. Who is that correct?
Yes, they did pick up Joe Denley.
He could certainly play that role. Good player against spin as well. Good hitter at the top. Strikes around 130. So, look, Lynn is as powerful and as dangerous as he hasn't been as dynamic for the KKR as what they would have liked. So I think Joe Denley could be a good replacement if he does leave. So I think they've got their house sorted pretty well.
Okay, what about the newly rechristened Delhi Capitals? They tend to be the talk of the town after auctions, after certain decisions that have surprised most people in previous auctions. They went for Hanuma Vihari early on. They paid 5 crores for Akshar Patel, picked up some seamers in Nathu Singh and Ishant Sharma, who will return to his home ground to play in the IPL. Colin Ingram, one of their more expensive buys at 6.6 crore. Then splurged a little later for Shiffen Rutherford, the West Indies opening bat, for 2 crore. They also paid for Kimo Paul, Jalaj Saxena and a couple of other uncapped players. Delhi Capitals, new leadership coming in with the slightly more conventional, you'd say, approach than previous Delhi teams, but have they ticked all the boxes for you, Gaurav?
Definitely it's impressive, but they still have some challenges with respect to bowling, and they have very similar overseas players they picked. Colin Ingram, they have Colin Munro, and they have Shiffen Rutherford. All of them are just top order batsmen. all really good in their own right. So you have good replacements for that. But Rabada, Trent Bolt, these guys have never really lit the IPL by storm. Even though they have great test match skills and ODI skills, something they've not done very well is done well in the IPL. So and with Ishant, Ishant and they picked up Natu Singh.
Yes.
So I think their bowling is slightly a bit
suspect.
It's not
Let's
not
go.
the best.
That's what the man who's bowled for them. Are you happy if you look at that?
I think they're a damn good team.
They're a good team.
On paper, at least, they look like a good team. There are lots of established Indian batters, quality batters, whether it's a Shikhar Dhawan, Shreyas, Rishabh Pant, or a Prithvi Shaw. That's a formidable top order. And then you've got overseas guys, whether a Munro or a Chris Morris or Ingram. I mean, quite keen to see how he does now that he's obviously a lot more experience coming back here. So Hanuma Vihari is not a bad buy. A couple of years back they picked a good team as well. They just didn't play well enough. So it's one thing having all the bases covered. It's one, and the other thing, for some reason Delhi find ways of not playing well enough. I think it's the selections at least pretty good. They've got a couple of decent spinners as well who can make a difference. So now it's about, like I said, playing better than what they have.
Well, one would hope as a Delhi fan that this success or reasonable success in the auction, as Ajit says, it looks like a decent team, translates into the IPL when it comes around. What about Bangalore, another team that you think have underachieved given the power package lineup that they've had? But looking at how Bangalore went this auction, Shimron Hetmeyer we thought would go for some money, and he did. 4.2 crore. They picked up a local opening bat in Devdut Padikkal. Shivam Dube, huge reputation ahead of this auction. 5 crore for the Mumbai all-rounder to Bangalore. Heinrich Klaassen is a reserve keeper. The likes of Himmat Singh, Milan Kumar, Prayasray Burman, we mentioned 1.5 crore for the leg spinner. And Akshdeep Nath also picked up for a reasonable amount of money in 3.6 crore. If I go to you, Brad Hodge, and I look at that team, there's already a lot of power in AB de Villiers, Virat Kohli. They've traded Marcus Stoinis. We don't know how much of that tournament will be available for the Aussie all-rounder. They've got Kultana El Saudi, and they've added more international prowess in Hetmeyer to that side. Does that look a good team to you?
Yeah, I think Hetmeyer is a good inclusion actually. I think they've done well to purchase him and hopefully he can complement Virat and AB. But, I still think there's a few question marks over there. The Indian batting around those three players. So, whether they can string it all together. There was a lot of reliance on their overseas players to get the job done last year, and also an inexperienced bowling attack. Having said that, Umesh Yadav stepped up to the plate and he was unbelievable. Chahal's a gun leg spinner. Washington Sundar was in and out of the side last year, so maybe he can play a bigger role this year. But, all in all, they're going to have to play well again.
Indian batting, is that still a bit of an issue for you? If you just look at that team, Ajit, there is Parthiv Patel, who's an experienced IPL campaigner, but could they have reinforced a little more with
I think
Indian
more
batters?
their middle and lower middle order, they don't have Indian batters. I mean,
Shivam Dube is a good inclusion.
Yeah,
in
I mean,
that
it's
case.
going to be a huge responsibility on him to come in first year and actually do that job for them. I mean, he seems to be having the ability to do it at this stage. If he does that, then that suddenly looks a little bit better. Otherwise, everything's just top heavy, as it's always the case with RCB. Maybe they could use a Hetmeyer or AB de Villiers later on, but they don't seem to do that. I mean, Virat and AB bat at open and number 3 give them the best chance, but generally they've struggled because they don't have, if those top 2 or 3 get out, there's no one to hold the inning together or finish it well. Then hopefully Shivam Dube or Hetmeyer do the job for them.
They paid a 1.5 crore amount for an unknown leggy. We often criticize Bangalore for not going for bowlers in auctions. Could they have gone for more bowling?
No, they already have a great bowling lineup. Last year also they did very well. That was their strength. The one thing, like Ajit said, they have that middle order finisher, which was a problem, which is they've taken a rookie for that. So it's a huge pressure on Shivam Dube. And the only thing I would have wanted them to do is pick an opener? Because you always have this question during the IPL, where should Virat Kohli bat? Should he bat at 3 or should he open? I think that question still remains, and we don't have two proper openers there. If Kohli bats at 3,
they've let both McCallum and de Kock.
Yeah, so if Kohli bats at
Unless
3,
you
ABD
play
bats at
Parthiv
4,
Patel as your opener,
and Hetmeyer at
that
5.
affects the team.
So
Very
they
well.
don't have two openers there.
Okay, that's if you look at it that way, and question for RCB to answer. But they've, like we've established, Shivam Dube has been given a huge responsibility, given that he could be a regular starter for RCB through the course of this season. Now, he's of course is a local boy in Mumbai. We managed to make sure that we caught not only his reaction, but the reaction of his family as he went to RCB for 5 crore for his first IPL.
It was really tense at that time. My friends and my family was with me and everyone was very tense. हाँ थोड़ा टेंशन था क्योंकि लास्ट 2 साल भी मैं रेकनिंग में था और उस साल मैं पिक नहीं हुआ था, तो वो भी एक था कि ये साल अभी मैंने बहुत अच्छा किया है, होपफुली मैं कोई टीम में जाऊँ, और सब प्रे कर रहे थे और ये साल हो गया वो. It was really nice. Everyone was telling me how much you're gonna go for, how many CRs or something. But everyone was supporting me that be cool and calm and don't take much tension for the auction and everything. I did not consulted about the IPL to anyone. I was just hoping that I'll get picked, and everyone was supporting me a lot in the dressing room. That don't worry, just focus on your game. You will be picked in the IPL and just keep going good in your Ranji games. I don't think so. I'm going to feel any pressure at that time because when I play cricket, I just focus on my cricket and I don't think anything that what prize and what player I am. I just focus on my cricket and I just give my 100% to my game. Yeah, it's right now I'm playing my Ranji game 4-day. So I'm not focused on my IPL right now. I'm just focused on my Ranji games. So after that, I'm gonna finish my Ranji games. I'm gonna focus on my IPL and I'm gonna change my fitness level a bit more. I'm gonna take my level one level up to good enough for the IPL. I'll try to match up with Virat Kohli, sir.
He looks fit enough already, and he said the right things for his chief selector to listen to. He's focusing on his Ranji Trophy campaign and not on the IPL, but should be a great chance for Shivam Dube this IPL playing under Virat Kohli. Right, one last team to just sum up, and if you thought CSK's job was relatively easy, then it was even easier. I don't know why we let VVS Lakshman go just for this, because they've only picked up a couple of players. Have Sunrisers Hyderabad, they came with a very established squad. They also did that significant bit of business, getting 3 players traded in the form of Vijay Shankar, Abhishek Sharma and Shahbaz Nadeem from Delhi, and they've only added to that team Riddhiman Saha, Johnny Bairstow and Martin Guptill. Right, GS, thoughts on that? Not much business today, but
yeah, the only thing I thought they would go for was a backup for Billy Stanley. He may go for Australia duty and he's pretty injury prone, so they don't really have an overseas quick bowler. So that was the only slot which they didn't go for. But otherwise, Johnny Bairstow, wicketkeeper batsman, and Martin Guptill all cover up for David Warner and Shikhar Dhawan in terms of skill set. So yeah, otherwise it's pretty it's as per expectation.
They're an established side, Tom Moody, Sunrisers, Haji. If you just have a look at that team, there wasn't much business they could do. They did pick up a Johnny Bairstow. We thought they might look for some reinforcement. They went for Martin Guptill too, in the event that they lose someone like David Warner at some point in that tournament. Is that a reasonable amount of business done by them?
Yeah, I think they did that business pretty early too. I think they just got their job done early in the auction and sat back and enjoyed the show. And then picked up late, but I mean they're a fairly settled side, aren't they? They're pretty well schooled down there in Hyderabad. They're a tough side to beat at home. Rashid Khan, of course, makes it difficult, and I think they're just topped up in little areas which I think they thought they were vulnerable. So yeah, pretty simple job, and they probably executed pretty well today.
Okay, now just as we wrap things up, from our IPL wizard Gaurav Sundaraman, who's followed this auction from top to tail, bargain buys for you?
I think Akshar Patel, being an Indian all-rounder, which is very, very rare. We saw in previous auctions how they all went for a lot of money. So Akshar Patel is one. Hetmeyer for all the build-up. Usually these auctions throw up 8-9 crores. It was a good buy for RCB, 4.2 crores I think. O'Shane Thomas, that was a surprise for me. I expected him to go for a lot more money, considering he did well against India and has that raw pace. But I guess teams are a bit wary about maybe either injury prone or whether it was just a one-off series. And Lockie Ferguson. Lockie Ferguson and Lasith Malinga. These are my other two picks because both of them
bargain buys.
Yeah, bargain buys. Both of them are overseas quicks. Both of them did very well in their respective IPL seasons. Lockie Ferguson for Pune was a revelation, and Malinga is coming back, and he's Sri Lanka's captain and had a great Asia Cup. So I expected these guys to go for slightly more. My biggest surprise is Akshar Patel.
Okay, and surprise picks. Now that's what the bargain buys as far as Gaurav goes analysing this auction. Surprise picks for you?
In terms of impact, one was Sherman Rutherford. So he did well in the Canada League and then did again backed it up at CPL.
Sheffield Rutherford.
Yeah. And Colin Ingram. Colin Ingram has been doing well consistently, and finally he's got his chance. He's gone across all leagues. PSL and
you seem to
BBL.
be really advocating his cause.
No,
you're putting a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah, but these players usually get picked much earlier. But this is very.
Colin Ingram played a long time back.
That's
but
2012.
But this is a different player you're saying now.
Yeah,
fine. So Colin Ingram is a surprise pick.
And the three Indian guys, Prabh Simran, Akashdeep Nath and Prayas Ray Barman. So not many have heard of them. Akashdeep Nath, obviously, that was a very surprising pick considering that he didn't have a great IPL last season for Punjab. And both Prabh Simran and Ray Barman, there's lots spoken about them online, and a lot of teams seem to have got their scouting right because we saw many teams bid for them. So definitely they have some X factor.
That's a lot of money being paid for a photograph, not with us yet, but we will get it at some point. Prayas Ray Barman and Prabh Simran Singh. And finally, the top unsold players for Gaurav Sundararaman this IPL. Now, few internationals that have missed out. Yuvraj Singh almost missed out.
Yeah, I had him originally on my list, and then obviously I had to remove it.
A couple of IPL stalwarts in there. Brendan McCullum's in that list.
And Dale Steyn, he just started bowling very well. That was a surprise. Some teams could have picked him, and they picked Malinga. I thought Dale Steyn would be one. Brendan McCullum, again, another surprise. He's available fully, has experience. Chris Wokes, last year, remember, he went for five almost in excess of 5 crores, and this year he didn't get no franchise to pick him. And Angelo Matthews and Alex Hale. So, like Martin Guptill, Alex Hales is also a proven T20 batsman. Right. So
I'm going to have Ajit and Haji now see where they agree and disagree with you on that. Colin Munro, you think was more of a surprise to Colin Ingram, or where do you stand on just all?
I mean, his numbers have obviously improved, and like both Haji said and Gaurav said that he's got runs all around the world or different leagues that he's played. So he'll be better off for that experience. Looked really good when he came for Delhi Daredevils, just couldn't get a start in that season. So. They'd be hoping that he's turned it around because if he has, then gives them a serious option who can not only score big but score quickly.
Is there anything jaw-dropping that you've observed or saw in this auction, Haji? Is it whether it's Dale Steyn or Brendan McCullum or Angelo Matthews, or the fact that any of the Indian kids got as big an amount as they did? Anything from you as we round things up on this auction?
I just think there's some, it's still some large numbers. So there's going to be some super excited cricketers tonight. There's no doubt, and there's obviously some upset ones as well. But for me, I think there's a couple of bargain basement buys, I reckon, which will have an impact in the IPL, and that's Sarfraz Khan at Kings 11 Punjab, and also Lasith Malinga at Mumbai. I still think that he can do some really damaging stuff. So for me, they're two base price buys which might do pretty well.
Okay, I need both you, Haji, and Ajit to actually quickly glance through those squads one last time and give us a rating on how they've done at the auction today out of 10. So maybe we can start with Chennai because that's the easiest one, with just Mohit Sharma as the significant inclusion. Chennai Super Kings, would you look at that?
They haven't done much today, isn't it? I mean, they've stuck to the things that works for them, and it's worked really well. I mean, last year I don't think too many people gave them, apart from their fans, gave them a chance to win the tournament. You thought they'd play well, but and they keep producing the results under MS Dhoni.
So you're happy with them? Out of 10,
that
squad looks good enough still. 8, 9, 8. Haji?
I'll go with Ajit. 8.
All right, let's go to our next one then. Sunrisers, they didn't do much business either. So let's see where you stand on Sunrisers. Hoji, just an addition of Bairstow, Guptill, Saha. Thoughts on the Sunrisers team?
Yeah, I think they just topped up from where they were. So, again, good execution. They'll be a good team again. So 8 for me as well.
8 for
Yeah,
Sunrisers.
9 for me. I think Sunrisers just look a lot more balanced.
Okay, the third team that tended to do most of its work before this auction, Mumbai Indians. We keep in mind that the alternate years that they tend to do well in, but bargain buy in Lasith Malinga, like you pointed out, Haji, and a return, or rather a new franchise for Yuvraj Singh. Out of 10, what do you give Mumbai after their auction performance?
Look, I think it was steady. I think they could have just gone for another, just topped up with another spinner. I think that's one area where they just mixed, where Wakanda's youngster that was there last year. I'll be interested to see how he holds himself again this year. And the Pandya brothers, if they're up and running, they're pretty good. So I like Lasith Malinga. I think he's done pretty well. And they're strong anyway.
What are you giving them out of 10?
Look, probably 7, 7.5.
Yeah, 8
Ajit?
for me. I think the 3 teams that we've spoken about are probably the most settled teams.
All right, as far as teams that had to start building a significant part of their squad, Rajasthan Royals were among them. They left it really late. Ajit, after what you've seen, they went for bowlers initially. They've got a couple of backup overseas players. Out of 10? Questions?
Yeah, 6 for me. I think they've left a lot. They could have done a lot more early on in the auction. They left that opportunity go, and then now they've got to hope that these big guys come good for them whenever they are available. So put them in a position to sort of go through to the playoffs. Because if they leave, in my opinion, they're going to struggle.
Haji?
Yeah, I agree. I just think they're lacking some firepower. If you take Stokes and Butler out of that lineup, I just can't see a lot of match winners, consistently over the course of the tournament. So for me, I'm with Ajit around 6, 7, about that.
All right, RCB adding Shimran Hetmaya and Shivam Dube. Start with you, Haji. Out of 10, what do you give them?
Yeah, a little bit of an improvement. I think they've, I like Hetmaya. I think that's a good one. I like that young boy from Mumbai who's come in, but he said that he won't feel pressure in that interview. He certainly will feel pressure. Don't worry about that. When someone's paying you 5 crores to get the job done, he will feel pressure. But all in all, they need to improve from last year. I'm not sure that they've filled a couple of spots as well. With still that question mark on the opening batters. They went for the Cock and McCullum last year, and that sort of went out the door. So still a question mark there. How they're going to perform, but top heavy, not much in the middle, and pretty good Indian bowling attack.
Number?
Yeah, I've got to agree. I think about 6, maybe 7. I think if that, I think there's still some gaps to be filled, and they keep leaving that. Again, Shivam Dube comes good. Hetmaya maybe might open with Virat Kohli. Who knows? That's another spot they need to fix. Again, lots of dependence on their Indian bowling. They'll have to come good again. If they don't, you've got to wonder. Then it spoils the balance if you have to play another overseas seamer. Again, for me, another Indian middle order batter would have been better.
Things look again similar to Kolkata Knight Riders. Reasonably thin squad in terms of size, but a pretty strong 11. Thoughts out of 10 for them?
Yeah, I think about 7, maybe 8 actually, because those overseas guys are big players for them.
Yeah.
Also, Dinesh Karthik, Uttappa, Piyush Chawla, Kuldeep, those guys, consistent, compact squad, not a lot of depth, but formidable squad. I think the first 3 teams that we spoke about, Mumbai, Sunrisers and Chennai, and this is the 4th team in my opinion that generally is
considered the top 4 of the IPL usually. You go with that, Haji, in spite of not getting too many players in terms of squad size. This is still a good, strong Kolkata squad. Marks out of 10?
Yeah, I tend to agree with that actually. I think up around 8, because I think the Carlos Brathwaite is just a little bit of icing on the cake. So, when you stare, he can also bowl on the power play along with Russell. They've got a couple of youngsters. He can whack him at the death, and he's pretty good in the field. So he will just complement Andre Russell nicely and give Dinesh Karthik just an extra option that they didn't quite have last year. They were so reliant on their spinners and 1 or 2 seamers. Now he's just got an extra option, which I think it's a super buy.
All right, and finally, I'll split the last two. You can take your both with former teams respectively. So Delhi for you, after all their additions that they made, how do you rate them?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the squad and the team looks good. I think most bases covered. Pretty strong Indian batting lineup, which is sometimes hard to get. I think Kolkata had a lot of success with that sort of team. The only question mark is leadership. I think Shreyas Iyer took over towards the end of that season. It'll be a big ask this year. Because he'll have to deliver, not just finish the season off. So that's the only one. Shikhar Dhawan's back, so maybe they'll give it to Shikhar Dhawan. I'm not sure. That's the only thing. But otherwise, on paper, as far as the personnel is concerned, they've done a really good job.
And finally, Augie, Kings 11 Punjab, lots of shopping, busiest team at the auction today. How do you rate them out of 10?
Yeah, I think they did a good job actually. So with some purse to spend, they've gone out and spend some good money, and they've created a chance where they can pick and choose who they want. I think the biggest challenge for them is combination, but I think the key for Kings 11 Punjab is to try and get the best out of those Indian local batters, and Mayank Agarwal, Karun Nair, KL Rahul, Sarfraz, if he can come into it, then you can get the best out of those, then they're on for a good show for sure. Because the spinners, they're obviously dangerous, and they'll play a big role.
All right, that's a wrap then. Many thanks, Brad Hodge. We're going to let you go first before you collapse in that chair of yours. But thank you for your long shift and your hard shift this auction day. We'll catch your thoughts again very soon. Thank you, Hodge, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Ronan.
And many thanks to Ajit Agarkar and Gaurav Sundararaman. You've got a longer way to go than Gaurav. He has to go to Bangalore. You have to go to South Bombay. But thank you very much, gentlemen, for your thoughts and your time. Extensive coverage and all the other probable 11s and all the fun that we tend to have after auctions will be up on the site, espncricinfo.com, as well as our mobile app. So make sure you catch whatever you need to in the aftermath of this auction there. Thank you very much for joining us on ESPN Cricinfo Auction Day, presented by League Adda.